Hey everybody, Leah Klett here with the Christian Post. My guest today is actress Elizabeth Tabish. You may know her as Mary Magdalene in The Chosen. She is now starring in a film called Between Borders, which tells the real life story of an Armenian refugee family. Like I'm always talking to you about something fun. Usually it's The Chosen, and then it was recently the best Christmas pageant ever.
Yes. It's so much fun. Yeah.
So much fun. And now we're talking about Between Borders, which is a little bit more of a serious project than your last project.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're ready, we can just jump right in and tell me about what drew you to this story.
Yeah, I was at a conference and the shift was playing last year. I believe it was in November. And this guy comes up to me after the screening, Isaac Norris, and he says that he's got this script that he's had me in mind for. I was like, oh, okay. You never really know if it's, what it's going to be. And then he mentioned that it was about an Armenian family. And my antenna went up. I was like, yes, yes, yes. I've been wanting to help tell Armenian stories. I'm part Armenian, and so I was really eager to read the script and find out more about it. And when he sent it, I just immediately read through it. I was super touched by it and felt really familiar with these characters and familiar with the character that I was going to play, and just really fell in love with it and was very eager and excited to help bring it to life.
So, for our listeners who aren't aware of what this story is, share a little bit about your character and the plot of this film because this is based on a true story. This is a really powerful story.
So the time period it takes place in the late 80s, early 90s. And it starts in Azerbaijan. They're an Armenian family. They were born there. They grew up there. They have fantastic jobs. Yvonne is literally a rocket scientist, and she's this principal of a school. And uh, ethnic tensions just start getting really, really out of control, and their lives are threatened. And so they flee to Volgograd, Russia. They're given sort of official, I don't know, they're allowed to stay there. But their interactions with people are still very they're kind of bullied, and they're not really welcomed, and they definitely feel it, and they it doesn't feel like home to them, And so the whole story is framed within this court hearing where they're applying for citizenship in America. They meet this incredible um, group of missionaries from America, and they invite them to come check out America. And while they're there, they really fall in love with it, and it feels like a place for them that they could call home. And yeah, so it's their life story. I got to meet them while we were filming, and then we got to premiere Between Borders at the Armenian Film Festival, and they were there, and it was one of the most special memories.
So, what was their response after seeing their story on screen?
I was so nervous. I was like, well, they loved it. They were really excited about it, and they felt really, um, I feel like they were depicted well. And I think they were part of the process. I think as they were writing the script, they were definitely part of, I think, checking on it and making sure that it's portraying them in a correct way, while still maintaining the sort of, intrigue of a movie. And yeah, I think they were really happy with it, which is kind of the first priority and for like best ideal situation, to play someone and them to be happy with your portrayal of them.
Well, how do you see this film contributing to sort of the global conversation around refugees and around asylum seekers?
Yeah, I mean it's such a their story is one of many Armenian stories, but it's not just Armenian people, it's lots of different cultures that seek refuge in America. There's a beautiful moment at the end of the film where the poem at the bottom of the Statue of Liberty is recalled, and it's just this incredible reminder of what America has been to so many people. It is a country of refugees. It's a country of immigrants. It's supposed to be this safe place for people to come and rest their weary heads and to find their own home and to belong because it is such a mix of so many different cultures. That's what makes America so unique. And so yeah, I mean, I think uh, it's a sweet reminder, and I think anyone who comes from an immigrant family will really feel uh, I don't know, maybe represented in this story.
Every project that you do is very meaningful. I think everything that I've seen you in, I've just been really moved by it. So that says something about you and the projects that you want to be a part of. So what is sort of your guiding mantra when you're choosing what projects you're going to do?
Yeah, it never used to be that way. I used to just sort of say yes to everything until it got to a point where I didn't even want to act anymore. Um, because I was so disappointed in the quality of female roles that were the types of characters that were written. And so really The Chosen jump started this sort of new chapter for me of it's not about being picky about the roles, it's about really resonating with the role and not just doing something because it's offered or doing something because whatever, you've got a cool scene or something. It's really like what how do you want to be known and how do you want to represent women? Because there are, for so long there's been such a, I think, limited um, representation for women. And so I'm really attracted to real people, to characters that feel very real, that have some sort of backstory or some sort of complication in themselves. Um, Maybe a little messy, maybe a little emotional. Um, and I think whenever I'm reading a script, if it really moves me and if it really touches a part of me that feels like other people will also be touched when they see it, it's like it's so easy to say yes and so easy to get excited about. There have been other projects that have been offered that I loved and I fell in love with the characters, but there are just certain things that have to sort of line up that make me feel like it's I don't know, part of a mission almost, of like I like this has to be told and it has to be told by me. If there are other things that I don't feel like have to be told by me specifically, um, then it's not always a yes. But this one especially, I just like I when I read it, I read my grandmother in her character, in her reactions, in her emotional state, in her attitude about things. And I just thought like I know this person and I really was so eager to get to play her.
Why do you think there's so little awareness around this?
Yeah, the Armenian plight has been a very long endured story,
Mhm.
and it has just recently been acknowledged publicly for what it was and what it has been, um, and I think knowing that and knowing that there's when people don't talk about things, sometimes they'll get forgotten in history and it will repeat and it will continue to repeat. And I just think it's a very important thing to keep the awareness alive of what Armenian people have gone through. And it's just there's so many chapters in it, and there's um, I mean, this story is a really nice representation of many experiences, but like there are so many more that are really harrowing. And so yeah, I think it's important to keep discourse about it alive.
What do you think the role of the church is in keeping that discourse alive? Why do people of faith need to be part of this conversation?
That's a good question. I mean, in this particular story, the Petrosian family grew up in a communist society. And when they were introduced to a Christian church, it was so foreign to them um, and so strange. But the tenets of what Jesus taught and how Jesus teaches us to be is the thing that really transformed their lives. The love of Christ, the love of God completely changed their lives. It gave them a sense of home, no matter where they lived. It gave them a sense of peace and stability. And there are moments in the film where Violetta is even talking about, Jesus said to love your enemies and turn the other cheek, and that's what she did. She tried to forgive. She tried to be kinder and not hold bitterness in her heart. And you can see that affect her throughout the rest of her life, and you can see who she is now and see what a like incredible representation of a follower of Christ looks like. And I think Jesus talks about taking care of each other and taking care of the poor and taking care of refugees and those who are in need. And I feel like that is one of the most Christian things that you can do is take care of those who are on the outside and who are struggling, and really love them and care for them, and you can see what life-changing effects that has.
Well, I know we're almost out of time, but can you share anything about the next season of The Chosen? So many people want to know.
What can I share? I think it's coming out early next year. I think March or April. I should know the actual date. Um, It is really, I mean, every season we're like, it's so intense, but it just keeps getting more intense. It is a really intense season. Um, some of my favorite moments in the Gospels are portrayed, and there's the Last Supper is a theme throughout, and it's incredible. There are, oh, I can't really say. There's one scene in particular that I think a lot of women are really going to love. And we kind of get a chance to see um, the hearts of all of these female followers of Christ. And it's going to be a really touching scene. So I'm excited for people to see that. And Mary gets a little feisty this season, and really is on a mission. And so we kind of get to see a different side of her, which is fun.